Hello, international professionals.
Hello,
Here's
good evening, everyone.
Hello, we are back again in 2024 to keep helping you improving your career and also to give you new ideas in relation to the market because the market is changing. AI is here. People are losing
Mm-hmm.
jobs.
Mm-hmm.
AI is taking over the world, right?
Well, there's a lot happening with AI, and I think what's so important is that we stay one step ahead of what's going on in the market to make sure that we
Exactly.
can remain as competitive as possible during a pretty challenging time in the job market.
Exactly. So me and Shona, we are back here in the channel, and this time we are gonna talk about something really, how can I say, Shona? Um,
Vital
Trendy,
at this point,
vital,
trendy.
yeah, trendy, vital, necessary news. I think
hmm
so, like bad news. I think it's all together.
Yeah. There's a dark side and a good side to this, guys. So it's important to be aware of both to make sure that you are using the tools at your disposal in the best possible way.
Exactly. So we are gonna talk about the bad side of ChatGPT.
Yeah. And there is a bad side, guys. Nothing is without a con, okay? If it seems too good to be true, then it is. And
Yeah.
ChatGPT definitely is one of those things that we as job seekers and from listening to recruiters and other people in the job market, we are starting to see the ugly side of AI. And when we say the ugly side, we are some of the biggest supporters of ChatGPT, and we are
Yes.
one of the first to say it can be an incredible tool for you as a job seeker. But there is another side to it that you really should be aware of from a careers consultancy perspective. And like I said, from speaking to recruiters in the market and understanding their thoughts on it, where clients are using it, but sadly, it's putting them at a disadvantage rather
Yes.
than an advantage. So we're going to talk a little bit this evening about the truth about ChatGPT from, I guess, that negative perspective, what we're seeing and what we're hearing that you need to be aware of just to make sure you're not falling into any of these traps.
Yeah. I think before we start to go to the bad side, I need to say ChatGPT is amazing. We are not
Oh, it
here
is.
to discourage you using ChatGPT
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's such a great tool to any job seeker, regardless the country you are. Okay, it's really good, really spot on. I believe ChatGPT is here to help,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
And
it's here to stay as well.
to help and to stay. That's
Mm.
it. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
discussion is not if you should use or not. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you should use
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
However, you should be very careful on how
Yeah.
to use it because
Exactly.
everyone
Exactly.
is using now. And what's happening?
Everyone.
What's happening, Shona? What's happening? Tell me.
Well, the first thing we're seeing from a careers consulting perspective, and we certainly have a new feature on our website, which where we can conduct a free CV reviews to clients who submit their CV. And one thing we're seeing a lot, and it's instantly recognizable, guys. It doesn't even need sophisticated technology to tell us. We instantly know it from a glance. We are seeing more and more and more AI generated documents. And there is a couple of things. The first thing that strikes me as an ex-recruiter and now as a career consultant is it brings up an ethical consideration for me. I've got to wonder if the person who's applying to do the job hasn't taken the time to really want to show me what they've done in a beneficial and true and authentic way, then are they going to be authentic in how they do their job? So it's like someone submitting their master's that's been plagiarized offline. Even if you have that knowledge, if it's not something you've done yourself, if evidence of the work is not there, then it brings up a huge question of integrity and capability. So for me, the first thing I think is, oh no, here it is, another AI generated document. This is going to be really hard to know who this person really is. And like I said, if recruiters have technologies now that can actually pick up on AI because of the flow of language. So not only that, but even just looking at it, Tana, you know, when you see one, right? It's instantly obvious.
We are getting a lot of ChatGPT CVs now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually very funny because we did had a boom of ChatGPT users,
Yeah.
and now I think, you know, like candidates have tried their best to to craft their CV, and they realized it's still not really getting there. It's still not really, you know,
Exactly.
like um doing much.
Yeah.
And they are buying our services now and sending, you know, like the ChatGPT CV to us, and it's so generic. It's
Yeah.
the same of the same of the same. It's
Yeah.
like it's like it's like you know, like we recruiters, we see, you know, like job descriptions every day, uh CVs every day. And when you compare a resume really well crafted,
Yeah.
showing case, you know, what the candidate did, which was their achievements, which was the results, which product they sold, or which service they've supported, names of clients, name of services, name of
Yes.
products. It's completely different from a AI generated, like random and generic job description.
Yeah, that's the word, isn't it? It's generic because, yes, of
Generic.
course, if you're a customer service manager, of course, your duties are going to overlap with 50 other people. That's normal. But it's the flow of the language that makes it so evident. And it's really difficult to know what your value is when you hand a generic template. And another thing to be remember with AI is that it depends on being updated with the most current information available. So if you look at something like an AI, you'll find that it's updated automatically on certain dates. So if you're working in something like IT or tech where things are so dynamic and changing all the time, who's to say that the information it's provided you with is the most up-to-date language, it is using the most relevant way of talking about a subject? Because while it is a support tool for language, it's not an expert in every single field. So there's huge room for error. So when you're working with a professional, like if, for instance, if you're working with us in the creation of your CV, we're deep diving into your experience with you. So we're going to notice all those little nuances that an AI possibly will not. So I think that's a big thing as well. And it's also the style of the language, the flow of the language. It feels almost, it's like a dictionary or a thesaurus. You know, it puts nice words together, it makes them flow, but it doesn't feel totally human. And what you want with your CV is, of course, a professional document. I mean, that's the end goal. But you also want something that lends a little bit to your personal brand, that speaks a little bit to your value as an individual. And AI, where you're using an AI substitute rather than your thought process or collaborating with a recruiter or consultant, then you're missing out a huge opportunity to add real value to your profile.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Plus, and in my opinion, this is the worst thing, is that candidates are relying so much in ChatGPT, all right, that they're not adapting their CV.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is one of the first pieces of information or tips we give our clients during consultations, is the importance of understanding what that actually means and why it matters so much.
Exactly. So instead of, you know, the candidate going through and read the job description, checking if there's anything there that he or she have done in the past and it's not in the CV, getting that job description, that keywords, and adapting in their CV, they're just, you know, like just throwing CVs everywhere
Yeah. Yeah.
without adapting, you know, like applying without adapting the CV.
Yeah, which is the basic. I mean, during our consultations, we go into a little bit more in depth as to why that is so important. But when you have the opportunity to sit down with a professional and talk about your career, skills that you may not have realized were significant, we will. And so we will say, okay, if this is the kind of job you want, then we really have to focus in on these kind of skills. Let's think about some projects you've done. Let's think about the routines you've done. AI is not going to give that time and consideration. It's literally just going to restructure language. So you miss massive opportunity to demonstrate your value. And I find as well another thing that can be quite, for me, I've had one consultation client not so long ago who clearly used AI to help them with their CV. And when we had call one of our consultation and we were doing our deep dive of their experience, how they had versed what they did on their CV versus how they were able to speak about it was two completely different things. So the CV had everything written in absolute textbook perfection, but the client struggled to talk about what they had done. So if I'm a recruiter, that instantly doesn't balance for me. If I have a perfectly written AI generated document, but then I have a person who doesn't have that confidence to speak about what they've done, there's a gap. So when you're working with a careers consultant, for instance, we're walking you through your career. We're talking about it. We're getting you to speak about it more. We're giving you insights. And what you find often, all the time really, is when clients are finished the consultation with us, they know how to speak about what they did with confidence. So when it comes to interview, they can support in speech what they have in writing. And I think that being able to close that gap is really important.
Yes. And also, we understand the job market and the job
Yes.
titles.
Yeah.
So what Shona just said, it's really important because when you come from Brazil or Mexico, Argentina, right? And you tell us your activities, what did you exactly did in that specific job? We know what type of job description represents that activities.
Yeah.
For instance, yesterday I had a meeting with a client. His CV was all financial analyst of the job title. Okay, so financial analyst, financial analyst, financial analyst. And I was like, okay, financial analyst is good. He goes, all right, in accounting finance in Ireland. And then he can get a job as financial analyst. However, all the jobs in Ireland that requires a financial analyst that needs a ACCA or
Mm-hmm.
you never get the financial analyst job.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
okay, because he doesn't have the certification required for a financial analyst in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which means we had to adapt his CV,
Mm-hmm.
more focus on other job titles that could open doors for him in
Yeah.
other financial activities, such as accounts payable,
Yeah.
billing,
Yeah.
assistant. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a big part of what we do. It's about mining and saying, okay, here, those skills don't match that requirement or that job title. You're really not going to get opportunities in the EU market with that. And there's a lot of playing around and adjusting and reviewing and redirection, whereas AI will never give you that. It will literally just repeat what it has found online. And bear in mind as well, guys, if it happens to pull its source of information from an American-based site that's using American English, that's completely different to the European job market as well. So there's loads of areas where you can actually produce a document that looks beautiful but is completely ineffective. And what's the point in having a beautiful CV that's going nowhere? So that it misses that opportunity to deep dive and really give context to your document.
Yes, yes. And again, of course, we are using ChatGPT, just like we used to use Google Translator.
Yeah,
Everybody was like,
absolutely.
oh, because the CV is horrible. It was done by Google Translator. I used Google Translator for years,
Yeah.
but I speak English really well. I read thousands and thousands of job descriptions. I know exactly how it has to be in the CV. If you don't know how to do it, you keep making mistakes, even with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. And that's the problem, isn't it? Is that it is a tool to support. Similarly, using that Google Translate option, would you ever be able to have a human to human conversation using Google Translate? It just wouldn't work. It would sound robotic and awkward and the flow would be wrong. It's a support tool. Oh, I need a word. Okay, I'm going to check Google Translate. Oh, I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'm going to get the translation. And that's what ChatGPT should be used for. It should be there to help you, play with different job titles for searching on LinkedIn, helping you analyze keywords in a job description. This is a great way to use it, but to actually use it for a word by word document is a really dangerous trap. And as we've said, we are seeing more and more CVs coming through that are top to toe AI generated. And I think that's where people are falling into the trap, because they use it, they put it out to market, and then they ultimately come back to us to redo everything that was done. So it's just about being aware of that. And also another thing to keep in mind, which is something I had never thought about, but I had a consultation recently with a professional who's in cybersecurity, and we were talking about AI and the challenges of AI and the perks of AI. And they said as well, one thing that I'd never thought of was when a lot of people do this straight copy paste off AI, they don't stop to think about where this is going in the future with data security. Because once you've uploaded all of your personal information to an online platform like ChatGPT, we're not really sure what the security and privacy risks can be on that as well. So make sure if you ever are uploading a document that you keep off things like your telephone number, your email address, anything at all that you don't want out there. Because remember, it's still in its infancy. We are only discovering the power of it yet. So just another thing to keep in mind for anyone who may be very privacy savvy.
Yes, exactly. It's funny because in Brazil we have a lot of scams.
Yeah.
And my mom now has started to receive scams by WhatsApp. So
And they're sophisticated, and they're really convincing.
it's Irish number. It's
Oh
someone
my
in Ireland.
goodness.
Brazil is in Ireland. Brazil is in Ireland. That discovered my mom's number.
Mm-hmm.
They take my picture. They put the picture on WhatsApp, and they text my mom like, "Hi, mom. Hey, just text you from another phone. Can you please send me money?"
Oh my goodness, this is terrifying. See, this
Right?
is where AI is going to get really scary.
I swear to God. And then
Oh,
when my mom, it's already the third scam message she received, and I told her, was like, "Mom," because she's have 70 something, like she doesn't know what she
yeah.
does in her phone,
Yeah,
she
sure.
actually pays a teacher to teach her how to use the phone I gave to
Yeah.
her, the phone I gave to her.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, "Mom, you should I think your phone, it's online somewhere. Like you made your phone number public. It must be
Mm,
on Facebook, it must be on Instagram, and people
yeah.
is like they can see your phone number and they're doing scams now." So
Yeah. Yeah.
like all these little things we need to think about, like
Yeah. Because we don't fully know the bigger picture of AI for the moment. So we're learning. So just to
no,
be aware. Yeah. So it's just
no,
an interesting little thing that I hadn't thought of before. And
no,
another
like
thing as well that I think with ChatGPT is that it lacks context, right? So, for instance, when we're speaking to our clients during consultations, we have the ability to really understand what their career goals are. Okay. So maybe they've worked historically in sales from a business development perspective, but now they want to step onto more kind of focused account management. Well, we know then what their goals are, what their aspirations are, what the nuances are of their experience. So we know how to redraft that job description in a way that gives value for the new direction. Whereas if you put that into an AI, for instance, it's not going to be able to calculate your aspirations, what your dreams are, what your hopes are, and then translate your document through, because there is no human context there. So again, you're risking just producing a very sterile, clinical document. And I think that's what it's to be aware of. Like, for instance, if you were working in a company and you needed good wording for a terms and conditions of something, perfect. It's going to write you up a beautifully legal drafted. It's perfect for that. Or you need a new flow for a paragraph. perfect. But if you're actually looking at conveying your skill, your personal added value, your achievements in a way that aligns with your career prospects or aspirations, then you're going to find you're losing so much by using AI, because they really can't convey that kind of passion or inspiration. They're really just going to produce a very cold, empty verse of writing, which isn't what you want. You want to tell a story with your CV, right? You want to entice the recruiter. So I think for
Yeah.
me, they're the big pitfalls. Is there anything else, Tanya, when you see an AI generated CV, what does it feel for you?
Yeah, like for example, this week I received this last week actually I received a CV done by AI, and it wasn't bad actually, because the girl, the client, um, she has a very career progression, beautiful career progression. Do you understand? Towards a tech position.
Yeah.
So she actually did a very good job, but um, she was writing, like in first person,
Oh,
which
yeah.
like would be, like it's way better when you write the CV in the third person, without um uh
I, me.
pronounce, like
Mm.
pronounce.
Mhm.
Um, so like, so I changed the wording, and also I got, like keywords from job descriptions
Mm.
that she didn't even thought about it. She was like, oh
Yeah.
yes, I do this, but it's so basic, I didn't even
Yeah.
think to add it. I was like, no, we should add, like all the methods, all this stuff, like.
Yeah.
Then she was like, Tana, oh my god, my CV, it's so beautiful, I want to cry, because now that it's rewording, and then I can, like, clearly read my career. I'm so proud of myself. It's so,
Yeah.
it took her, like it was like impacted her, like. So
Yeah.
again, you can do a good job, but it will never be as good as a career consultant job.
Yeah, for sure. And even just the confidence, right? Because again, if you produce work off AI, you haven't really participated. You've just done a copy paste and taken a result. You haven't participated in that process. So that sense of pride or confidence isn't really there, because you don't feel you've participated in that. Whereas, as you say, when we work with our clients, we see the transformation from that first interaction where they're like, I'm not really sure, I'm really nervous, I've had lots of bad interviews, and then at the end of the service, and they're ready for those interviews, and they feel confident, and they're reaching out to recruiters. And that's something that an AI cannot give you. They can't give you that sense of self-worth, or they
Yes.
can't give you that motivational pep talk or those insider tips. They really are, it's a robot. And so, remember that it produces robotic results.
Yeah.
But that's not to knock it, because it has great sides. We just need to be super careful about how we use it, when we use it, how to use it.
Yeah.
But it's just being
Well,
cautious.
also, today I just had a call with a client, and she was all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
her career is all over the place.
Uh-huh.
So she's nutritionist, and then she moved to Ireland, started to work as a customer service, and then
Mm.
went to Italy, started to work as translator, as ice cream maker, and then
Mm.
shop star, and then at the end of the day, her CV had a lot of experience. Half
Mm.
of them that didn't need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Irrelevant,
Mm-hmm.
irrelevant, totally.
Yeah.
So I started to ask questions like, okay, so will you go back to nutrition?
Mm.
No. All right, so we can change this. We can change in this way. We can
Mm-hmm.
reword this part here, focus more into administrative
Yeah.
um, part of the job instead of nutritionist,
Mm-hmm.
as in a clinic, right? She's like, yes. So we restructured, and then I deleted a few things that was totally relevant.
Mm-hmm.
We changed other things, so the CV looked smooth.
Yeah, and that's what you want. And that's what AI will not do for you. It will just reproduce about the ice cream shop, all of that in a really beautiful language, but it's still going to talk about an ice cream shop, which may not be interesting for you at all. And that's it. That's a really good point. It will
Yeah.
not know what is important and what is not. It will simply reverse everything, even the things that aren't important.
Yes. 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 Exactly.
So,
So
like,
that's the bad side of AI, guys.
yeah, I mean, we can do a whole other session where we talk about the perks, and there are loads. And I always say to
Woo!
my clients, I always champion AI. It can really help you if you know how to use it properly. It is an amazing tool. So we can certainly do a session where we show you all the great things, but
Yes.
it is just to be aware that
Yes.
there are those downsides, and that if
Yes.
you are producing an AI generated document, recruiters know. So,
Yes.
what's the first impression you want to give them? That you are unauthentic and unable to talk about your experience, or you're super confident, you know exactly what you've done, you can support it with facts, you can give it nuance and a humanistic approach. I certainly know which document I prefer to receive.
Yes. Plus, there are two versions of ChatGPT, the version 3 and version 4. The version
Yes.
4 is the paid one. We have the version 4 and it's way, way much better than version 3. So I keep thinking, like, if people is using the free version to do resumes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, not good. Like for the basic things, it's okay. It does the job. But if you're actually using it for real generation of text, I'd be really mindful.
Yes. So
Really
that's it,
mindful.
guys. I
A
hope
little
you liked.
Yeah, a little quick live, but we just thought it was so important because we had picked up on that and we had seen those CVs coming through.
Yeah.
We're like, you know what, we need to address this because it's not something we can just be quiet about and let you guys keep on, making those mistakes. Stop.
No.
If you've been using it, stop, take some time, invest in your profile, get it ready for market because it's competitive out there. So you have to give yourself that edge.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Shona, for being here in the
Thank you
channel.
for having me.
2022, 2024,
2 years on. Yeah, listen, last year was a long year.
it was a long, strange year for everyone.
For everyone, yeah.
The market
The
shook,
world,
the
yeah,
world shook after
yeah,
post-COVID.
yeah,
Things were really strange.
yeah,
Plus, a lot of layoffs.
yeah, yeah. And there's a lot politically happening, which is impacting the market. So look, it feels like an uncertain time, but all we can do is get ourselves prepared because every time there is a drop in the market, a few years later, there is a rise. So we can just
Yeah,
get ourselves ready for battle again, right?
exactly. Guys, thank you very much for being here today with
Thanks for
us.
having
Thank
me.
you, Shona.
My pleasure. Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.